Hello, this is Bob Collects Stamps. I'm Bob. I really am this time. Not always sure. I have been challenged. Ted the Talking Stamp Collector, whose channel is below, including a link to the responding video. I have been challenged to do a swap and research. What happens is I send him stamps, he sends me stamps, we do it the same day, then we research it and post our YouTube videos about the research, the stamps, and the swapping all the same day also. We have a tentative date for that. You're seeing this on or after that tentative date. Today, I put together my set to send to him, and he's supposedly putting his set together, and I'll show you a little bit of the sorting process I went through. I went to my trusty bin of sorted by country stamps. I did an unboxing video a little while ago from Ted, and he sent some stamps in these nifty little envelopes, little baggies. These are for baseball cards. And I took one of those and took the old label off and took the stamp out. And now I'm going to put his stamps, my stamps for him, into this envelope. And then I'll put it into an envelope to mail it to him on the same day he's going to supposedly, he better, mail things to him. Now, things are taking about a week to get back and forth, so. And even though it's Spain, I don't even know exactly what the denomination is. So he will hopefully tell me that. PTAs, and I haven't looked it up, I just don't know. That's okay, but here they are in their little baggie. He gets a Christmas card. And I'm going to be mean to him and send him a red envelope. What we did was we swapped stamps. Now, this was really easy on my part. I put some stamps in an envelope. You'll see that in just a moment. I mailed them to him. He received them. Filmed his, like I'm doing, filmed his doings and researched them. And this video, his version of this video, is the result of that. He sent me some stamps. I have no idea what they are, and I will never know because the post office lost them. So he sent me more stamps. I thank him for that. He's been a good sport about the post office losing his stamps. Hopefully he will get them back someday, or I will get them and get them back to him. I won't even open them because I don't want to know what they are. Well, maybe I'll open them. But he sent me a second set of stamps, a set of stamps that we're exchanging. So I'm going to open this, and I'm going to do the research. So you'll see all that going on. Really, post office, you screwed up. All right, but we'll see what happens. And thank you to those who started it. I'll put out who those are somewhere here. But we appreciate it. Ted, thank you for asking me to do this. Okay, this is me now opening this letter from Ted the Talking Stamp Collector. His was why this name has, this channel has its name, where I got my brand name. Ted was talking about stamps, and Graham Beck was exploring stamps, so I figured I could collect stamps. See what he has sent. A piece of paper. All right, let's see. Got a note in here, and I will not look at the stamps yet. Let's see what I can learn about these guys. Here's Ted. And these guys. Oh, Greece. Ooh, these are nice. Okay, I'm cheating a little bit already because he has labeled these as to what they are. They're from Greece, and they are Airmail stamps from 1943. They are winged people. I don't think they're all the same, but they're winged people. Following opening the stamps, since Ted included the year and Scott numbers, I went straight to volume 3A of my 2018 Scott catalog, covering the letter G, and looked them up. I did film that, as you can see, but forgot to turn my microphone back on. My errors continued. After being confused by opening the book G to the Isle of Man, a part of Great Britain, I forgot, I turned to Greece and fumbled again, looking them up in the regular issues. Then I found them in the Airmail section like they were supposed to be. I got the information listed there and turned to the internet. My sources included several scholarly sites on Greek history, Greek mythology, and World War II, along with Wikipedia. And this is a summary of what I found out about these stamps and the circumstances around their issuance. Greece's first modern postal service was founded in 1828, at the time of Greek independence from the Ottoman Empire. This service continued until 1970. These 6 airmail stamps were issued by occupied Greece on Wednesday, September 15, 1943. Also on that day, the Germans recaptured Rome for Mussolini after Italy had surrendered to the Allies on September 9th. Additionally, the bazooka was first demonstrated for the press at U.S. Fort Benning in Georgia. These stamps depict various animi, or wind gods, and were designed by O. Paravalericus. I don't see his name attached to other stamps in my limited references, but the few other Greek stamps of the time are very similar in style. Sculptures of these gods also appear on the Tower of Winds, which still stands in Athens. These stamps were printed by lithography and have a perforation of 12.5. During World War II, Italy tried to invade Greece in 1940 but was thwarted. However, Germany then invaded, and Germany, Italy, and Bulgaria occupied Greece beginning in 1941. The king and government fled to exile in Egypt. There was strong resistance during much of the war until resistance groups began fighting each other in 1943. Some of those Greek resistance groups even set up their own postal services and issued their own stamps. During the occupation, authorized internal Greek airmail was limited to 2 routes, one between Athens and Thessaloniki, the other between Athens and Heraklion. Foreign destinations were limited to Germany, Italy, and select other Axis-occupied countries. Early in the occupation, Greek postage due stamps were converted for airmail use by overprints of a small airplane design in red. These sold out quickly, though, and there was a need for a new issue. A set of 6 stamps with designs similar to the stamps here were issued on August 15, 1942. They had face values of 2, 5, 10, 20, 25, and 50 drachma. 1943 was a time of high inflation in Greece, and the postal rates needed to be increased. These new stamps were issued with new values and colors. The 1942 stamps were discontinued in July 1943, and during the gap, regular stamps were allowed as postage for airmail. The new 1943 issues dropped the lowest 2 and 5 drachma stamps from the earlier issues and added 100, 200, and 400 drachma values. The 1942 set had included Notice, the south wind, with a value of 5 drachma, and Lips, the southwest wind, on the 20 drachma stamp.
In May 1943, Allied forces had liberated North Africa, and I speculate that was enough of a sore spot with the occupation that when the new stamps were issued, they dropped all reference to the direction of Africa. Boreas, the north wind, was moved from the 1942 2 drachma to the new 100, and the 20 drachma with lips, the south wind, was dropped and replaced on the new 25 drachma stamp by Zephyrus from the west. 2 new wind gods, Eurus and Skyron, were added to the higher values. Greece was liberated in October 1944 by the Soviet Red Army, and apparently these were the last airmail stamp issued by Greece until 1952. So, who's on these stamps? The stamps depict 6 of the Anemoi, the gods of the winds. Much of what follows is from Hesiod, who was a Greek poet active between 750 and 650 BCE, around the same time as Homer. Between the two of them, they codified Greek mythology and religion. These wind gods were all brothers. Their mother was Eos, Titaness, and the goddess of the dawn. She brought the dawn when she rose each morning from the edge of the Oceanus, the world-circling river. Their father was Astraeus, the god of the dusk. His parentage is uncertain, but he was either a first or second generation Titan. The two of them produced many children. In addition to their windy sons, they also fathered 5 sons that became gods of the wandering stars, or planets. These 5 others were Phaenon, for Saturn, Phaethon, for Jupiter, Peiresis, for Mars, Isaphros or Hesperos, Venus, and Stilbon, Mercury. The gods of Olympus, by the way, whose names we are more familiar with, such as Zeus and Ares, were gods that held those worlds especially sacred, while those earlier gods were the gods of the wandering stars themselves. Eos and Astraeus also apparently had a daughter, Astraea, the goddess of innocence and justice. Now to the stamps. The first is Scott number C61, 10 drachma, colored rose red, featuring Apeliotes, the southeast wind. He is often depicted wearing gum boots, has curly hair, a friendly expression, and carries fruit. Apeliotes brings refreshing rain beneficial to farmers. Next is C62, with a face value of 25 drachma, printed in Prussian green. It shows Zephyrus, the west wind. He was also the god of spring and depicted in classical art as a handsome winged youth. In Greco-Roman mosaics, Zephyrus usually appears as spring personified, carrying a basket of unripe fruit. Zephyrus is a god of gentle spring winds. His name, of course, is where we get the English word zephyr. He lived in a cave in Thrace and was either married to or had a dalliance with a harpy, and fathered Achilles' horses by her. He also killed Hyacinth, one of Apollo's male lovers. However, stories differ as to whether it was an accident or deliberate. Apparently, Hyacinth was playing a discus game with a girl that Zephyrus was interested in, and the west wind blew the discus and conked Hyacinth dead. This might explain the English usage of his name for a harsher wind. The next stamp is C63, the 50 drachma, printed in violet blue. It features Caeus, god of the northeast wind. Caeus is the god of violent summer storms, and he is often depicted as a bearded man with a shield full of hailstones, sometimes dropping them on those below. His name comes from the Greek word kako, meaning badness or evil. The next stamp is C64, valued at 100 drachma and printed in slate black. It shows Boreas, the cold north wind. Boreas is the bringer of winter. He is usually shown as being very strong and has a violent temper to match. Frequently, he is shown as a winged old man with shaggy hair and beard, a lot like Santa Claus. He often carries or blows into a conch shell and wears a billowing cloak. He is usually depicted with winged human feet, but at least one author said he has snakes for feet. Boreas had at least 2 sons, Calais and Zetes, who sailed with Jason as Argonauts. Boreas is closely associated with horses and, like his brother Zephyrus, fathered several, perhaps a dozen. He at least took the form of a stallion and sired the horses by other horses, rather than a harpy. Pliny the Elder thought that mares might stand with their tails facing the north wind and become pregnant without the aid of a stallion. Like Zephyrus, he was supposed to live in Thrace. Herodotus and Pliny the Elder both described a land they called Hyperborea, meaning beyond the north wind. In the early 20th century, Robert E. Howard used this as the name of the land where Conan the Barbarian lives. Boreas kidnapped and married an Athenian princess. Because of this, the people of Athens considered him a relative. As a relative, they called on his aid when the Persians under Xerxes threatened their city, and around 400 ships of Xerxes' fleet were sunk by the north wind. The stamp C65 is the 200 drachma claret-colored stamp. It features Eurus, the southeast wind, or maybe the east wind. Sources vary. Eurus is a wind of storm, described as a turbulent wind during storms and tossing ships on the sea. He lived near the palace of the sun, Helios, and was called the savior of Sparta, though I didn't find out why. He did get to be the father-in-law of Ares, who, under the Romans, became known as Mars. The last stamp is C66, the 400 printed in steel blue. This one features Sciron, god of the northwest wind. Confusingly, the wind the Athenians called the Sciron blew from the direction of the Scironian rocks, which are more west of Athens. He is often associated with both the west and the northwest winds. Sciron is depicted as a bearded man tilting a cauldron. In this, he represents the onset of winter. In addition to some confusion about his wind direction, there is some confusion about his name. The god of the northwest wind is also called Argestes, Iapix, Mesus, and Olympias. As I mentioned, there are two wind gods not featured on these stamps, but featured on the 1942 issue. Lips, from the 5 drachma stamp, is the Greek deity of the southwest wind, often depicted holding the stern of a ship. His Roman equivalent was Africus, due to the Roman province Africa being to the southwest of Italy. The 20 drachma stamp showed Notus, the god of the south wind. This was the desiccating wind coming after midsummer and was feared as the destroyer of crops. Notus's equivalent in Roman mythology was Auster. His name was used for the compass direction Australis, which became the name of the continent and nation of Australia. By the way, Ted got me to do something I haven't done in an extremely long time. He got me to part with some stamps. So congratulations, Ted. Everybody else, if you haven't yet, go watch his video. Thanks for watching this one.